Hello, welcome to the Money and Market Show, and I'm Charles Borg, your host. Now, we're not getting very good news from our neighbors in Kenya, especially over the sugar subsector. The latest we are hearing is that the Kenyan government has cut down the import of Ugandan sugar from about 90,000 tons to around 18,000 tons. That's an over 70% cut. And of course, we'll be exploring more about that story in our subsequent shows. Once again, it's the Money and Market Show. First off, now, we've spoken to several experts who are pointing to the fact that the country has tough times ahead because of the rate at which we are depleting our forest cover. Now, most of this goes to serve our energy needs, both domestic and commercial. Now, to this end, players in the energy subsector are calling upon government to support them in promoting natural gas usage to help the country rein in this challenge.
We actually sell what we call liquefied petroleum gas, LPG. It's different from the natural gas that most people always talk about. The industry is not has not received LPG wholly. There's a big challenge. I'll tell you, it's only 3.5% of Ugandans that are capable of using gas that use it. The other 90% use wood fuels, which is mainly firewood or charcoal or briquettes and biomass. Sometimes people use dung as well for cooking. And you'll notice that is not a very healthy affair, especially in cooking, in terms of energy usage, and in terms of cleanliness of your cooking process. Vivo Energy is a very good corporate citizen. It cares for its people, the communities that it works with, and all its partners. When we talk about going for a campaign to promote the use of LPG, tell people that it's safe, it is clean, and it's affordable, it's coming from that angle. You know very well the use of other wood fuels generates a lot of smoke, and smoke is a very dangerous substance in enclosed facilities, especially in rural homes or in kitchens. It is one of the biggest sources of respiratory illnesses across the country. And respiratory illnesses kill more people than HIV, for example. We care about that on the health aspect. On the environmental aspect, for you to cook using charcoal or firewood or any other biomass, you have to cut a tree. And if you cut a tree, it means you're damaging our environment. I'll give you a statistic. In the 90s, Uganda had a forest cover of 24%. Today, as recent as 2019, we are only seated at 8% of forest cover. Why is that? It's firewood, it is charcoal that is being used in the city. We manage the process or processes to make sure that the LPG that people receive in their homes does not cause danger to them, because our regulators, our government has put in processes and regulations on filling of LPG cylinders. How does it come about? What is this unsafe acts what are these unsafe acts that we are talking about? We are talking about people filling cylinders up to a certain level. People overfilling cylinders. All that causes this perception that LPG is not safe. Because one leak and one explosion in someone's home makes people believe the myth that we keep talking about, LPG is unsafe. Don't you see? It burst in so-and-so's home, so-and-so's flat caught fire, and that type of thing. So we need to remove that. And how do we remove it? Government has to help us in regulation. Let's do the right things. From the time we fill the cylinder to the time it arrives at someone's home. It's a very good initiative by government. In the budget of 2019-2020, government removed VAT on LPG, and it was very welcome. It facilitates the customers to acquire LPG because it's now cheaper by 18%. We expect more initiatives by government to facilitate, especially the urban people, to use LPG, so that we stop seeing trucks of charcoal coming from the north, coming from the east, coming from the west into Kampala. Because while they come into Kampala, we cook good food, the people at home are losing their forest cover. And the effects of climate change will quickly impact us. If we decide to direct our target market for LPG or for shale gas, if we want to direct it, I'm directing it to the middle class. And the middle class is growing. In Uganda, it's growing. We can't be shy about that. There are people who are demanding for better life, and part of better life is clean cooking, clean energy. We see it growing, and we expect it to grow. Yes, we may have had COVID that has affected the economy, but it has not eliminated that growth of the middle class. And we think we can benefit from it. And we think we are directing this message to them. They're the ones who know globally what happens with the environment if we cut down our forest cover. They're the ones who know globally what happens with money in their pocket. Affordability is a major issue for them. They are the ones who know about safety. They don't want to burn down their big asset, which is their home.
Now, the markets have been awash with reports of the closure of several multinational players in this market, especially those that sit within the retail sub-sector or space. Of course, we've heard about the stories of ShopRite closing shop in Uganda, not just Uganda, but other East African markets. But then, of course, the icing was when GEM announced similar possibilities. Now, today we try to put into context why this is the case. Again, trying to look at how the economy is performing at the moment. Uganda's economic fundamentals are today sending mixed signals, looking rosy on one part, but gloomy on the other. According to the Bank of Uganda, Uganda's exchange rate has been relatively stable, with the shilling appreciating by 3.8% against the dollar between January and July 2021. In the same breath, our inflation numbers point to a firm position, especially for the August year.
As of August 2021, for the year that is ending this month, the inflation for Uganda is registered at 1.9%, compared to the one we released last month that was 2.1%, meaning the rate of increase in prices has slightly gone down from 2.1% as of last month. For the 12 months up to August, it is now registered at 1.9%.
The decrease in transportation inflation and the reduced food prices are among the reasons why this is the case. The shilling's strong position has been partly attributed to concessional budget inflows from IMF, the World Bank, and personal remittances. While the strength of the currency and the grounded single-digit inflation numbers are good precursors for stability, the departure of several multinational players from the economy today continue to raise questions among economists. Last month, South African shopping giant ShopRite announced its departure from the Ugandan market. In the same breath, Massmart, the owners of Game Store, have also announced similar plans. While this is not the only market where the shopping giants are departing from, the departure timing from Uganda raises some economic questions. It's coming at a time when a number of multinational players, including British Airways, Etihad, PEP, a series of Kenyan retailers, and even some media players, including Record TV, have closed shop in a space of 6 years. Result from a business climate survey conducted by the Economic Policy Research Center on how COVID-19 pandemic impacted Ugandan businesses reveals low resilience among firms in sectors such as retail chain outlets, which would explain the departures of Shoprite and Game at this time. Other observers, however, maintain that such operators were already under distress even before COVID, and some had already closed branches, while others had exited the market. Other reasons cited for the poor performance of some multinationals include low demand, taxation, unfair competition from informal firms, and competition from counterfeit and substandard goods. Some assert that a number of multinationals have failed due to poor business modeling and market research.